Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's lecture, we will be solving some practice questions of Le Pronom Relatif simple in French. Now, just in case you guys haven't watched my previous lecture, which was based on the pronouns of Que and Qui, you can check it out. I've attached the link in the description box below. And once you're done with it, you can come back to this video because in this particular video, we'll be practicing the questions of these four pronouns all together. Now, I haven't explained ou and do in the previous lecture, so I'll just be giving a brief analysis of what ou and do are along with Que and Qui also. We'll revise all these four together for a brief moment of time and then we'll straight away jump on to solving these exercises which will be asked in your exams. So let's get started with the revision first of all. So we have four pronom relatif simple in French, namely Que, Qui, ou and do. तो pronouns का काम क्या होता है? They're just the same as in English. In French also they're just the same. So they're used to replace nouns which is being repeated multiple times so that the language gets easily comprehensible, it becomes attractive and a little professional as well. So yahi main purpose hota hai pronouns ka, to replace the nouns, right? So we have four pronouns in French and these four pronouns replace nouns in different situations. Now, in order to put this in a better way, try to understand it like this. We have two sentences. First sentence, second sentence. And in both the sentences, there's one noun that is being repeated. In the first sentence as well, in the second sentence as well. Now, in the first sentence, let the noun come. But in the second sentence, we don't want it to come once again. Kyunki we want to make our language much more attractive. There's a very simple reason behind it. So we don't want that noun to get repeated again. So we want to replace it with a pronoun. But with which pronoun do we replace? With Que, Qui or ou or do? That is our purpose. That is the task which we are assigned with when we are solving these exercises जो कि हमारे exams में आती है. Right? So first of all, let's understand Que. देखो, if you have a sentence, two sentences, and a noun is being repeated in this, the noun which came in the first sentence is also being repeated in the second sentence, and वो noun ऐसा है कि it is an object. In the second sentence वो object बनकर आ रहा है, मतलब verb के बाद आ रहा है and verb और उस object के बीच में कोई preposition नहीं है. This is a very important thing to keep in mind. अगर आपका वो जो noun है वो repeat हो रहा है second sentence में and it is coming as an object in the second sentence and that object does not has any preposition before it, then उसको हम replace करेंगे Que से. Done? Second is Qui. Now Qui कहाँ use होगा? There's again a noun जो कि first sentence में भी आ रहा है, second sentence में भी आ रहा है, but in this case the noun in the second sentence is not being repeated as object but here it is being repeated as the subject. मतलब वो verb से पहले आ रहा है. So we'll be replacing it with Qui. As simple as that. Then we have ou. Now ou कौन से nouns को replace करेगा? Ou will replace the nouns or sentences जहाँ पे it will be used in those sentences जहाँ पे जो noun है that is referring to a place or a time. Right? अगर हम सेंटेंस में प्लेस या टाइम की बात कर रहे हैं देन वी विल बी रिप्लेसिंग द नाउन विद ऊ. ऊ का लिटरल मीनिंग वैसे वेयर होता है या फिर व्हेन होता है इन इंग्लिश. राइट? सो इट बिकम्स क्वाइट ऑब्वियस कि इट विल बी यूज्ड टू रिप्लेस प्लेसेस और टाइम. एज सिंपल एज दैट. नेक्स्ट अप वी हैव दो. नाउ दो इज अ लिटिल ट्रिकी because do is used to replace those nouns जिनसे पहले एक preposition आता है. and कौन सा preposition आता है? of. of preposition आता है जिसको फ्रेंच में हम द बोलते हैं. I'll show you it with the help of pen. The is the preposition which means of. So अगर आपको कोई ऐसा noun है जो कि second sentence में repeat हो रहा है but it is coming after the preposition de, then you will be using the pronoun dont, dont, to replace it. So that is the complete concept behind Le Pronom Relatif simple in French. Hope it made sense to you. Now we are just gonna get started with solving these exercises. Started with the practice exercise number 1. Écrivez la phrase, which means to rewrite the sentences. So in this particular exercise, we are supposed to rewrite the sentences using le pronom relatif simple, whichever is more suitable to be used in that particular sentence. We will be replacing the noun using that particular pronoun. Beginning with the very first question, it is Marianne une robe bleue, je l'aime beaucoup. It means Marianne has a blue dress. I like it a lot. L dash over here means it, right? L dash is what? First of all, you need to understand this thing very importantly. L dash is nothing but COD, complement objet direct, and COD is used to replace a direct object which comes directly after the verb without any preposition before it. Now just recall, what pronoun do we use to replace an object which comes without a preposition, and that also after the verb? Yeah, definitely it will come after the verb, that's why it's an object, but just try to recall, what pronoun do we use? We use que, QUE. Now, सबसे पहला step is to identify the noun that is being repeated. It's very obvious. Marianne likes a blue dress and I like it a lot. Marianne has a blue dress and I like it a lot. I like what a lot? The blue dress. So blue dress is coming in the first sentence as well. It's coming in the second sentence as well. So the blue dress, L dash, which is represented by L dash over here, is the noun which we need to hunt, which we need to replace with a pronoun. So what we'll be doing is very simple, and with what pronoun? As I just told you, que is the pronoun because L dash replaces a direct object, an object without a preposition, and an object without a preposition is always replaced by que pronoun. So here we have une robe getting repeated in both the sentences, and in order to make this sentence, rewrite this sentence, we will be dropping L dash because we will be replacing L dash with que. राइट अगर हम क यूज़ कर रहे हैं तो हम नाउन क्यों लिखेंगे? अगर हमने उस नाउन के लिए पहले ही एक प्रोनाउन यूज़ कर लिया है, सो ऑब्वियसली वी वोंट बी रिपीटिंग दैट नाउन अगेन, सो वी विल ड्रॉप दैट नाउन. सो वी विल ड्रॉप एल डैश and in place of that we will write que in between of both the sentences. So your answer will be Marianne une robe bleue que je aime beaucoup. Marianne has a blue dress that I like a lot. मतलब इधर it जो आ रहा था blue dress के लिए, it has been dropped because now it is replaced by the pronoun que. As simple as that. Next up, we have Je vous prête la voiture, mon père me la avait donnée. I lend you the car, मतलब I let you borrow the car, my father gave it to me. Okay, now gave what to me? The car to me. Now it's very obvious what is the noun that is being repeated. La voiture. La voiture over here it is coming, and the second sentence it is coming in the form of L dash because COD has replaced la voiture. Okay, L dash is nothing but COD, and what is a COD used for? COD is used to replace direct objects or objects without any preposition, right? So objects without any preposition are replaced by COD. Therefore, L dash here represents la voiture, nothing else but la voiture. So la voiture is getting repeated in both the sentences, and in the second sentence, la voiture is getting repeated as a direct object. And in order to replace direct object, we always use the pronoun que. So we will be dropping L dash just like we did in the previous question, and we will be writing que in between both of these sentences, and your answer will be Je vous prête la voiture que mon père me avait donnée. I lend you the car that que my father gave me. So we have dropped L dash because we have replaced this L dash by que because it was a direct object. Next we have Pauline a finalement acheté le livre. Elle en avait besoin. It is an interesting question. Now, let me remind you before we get started with this question that avoir besoin de. Avoir besoin de is a phrase in French which means to be in need of. And one special thing about this phrase is that avoir besoin is always accompanied with de. Always de comes with avoir besoin. But here you can see that ave besoin has been written, but de is not there. Now, why is de not there? Because de has been replaced by pronom on. Right? इधर पे हमने COD से replace किया direct object को, वैसे ही और रिप्लेस करता है उन ऑब्जेक्ट्स को विच कम आफ्टर डी प्रोनाउन. सो ऑब्वियसली दिस सिग्नल्स कि इधर पे एक प्रोनाउन था कोई, सॉरी प्रोनाउन नहीं, कोई नाउन था कोई जिससे पहले डी preposition आ रहा था. So or replaced this particular object which was coming after de preposition and or इधर लिख दिया गया. Now what is that noun? We need to find that out. So before that, let me tell you what the meaning of this sentence is. Pauline a finalement acheté le livre. Pauline has finally bought the book. Elle en avait besoin. She needed it. Now, what did she need? The book, right? So the book is the word which is the noun which is getting repeated in both the sentences, in the first sentence as well as the second sentence. Le livre, and le livre here has been written in the form of o, right? Because सबसे पहले अगर हम o यहाँ पे use नहीं करते तो sentence कैसे होता है? This sentence would have been like elle avait besoin de livre, but de livre has been replaced by this particular o pronoun. So o pronoun ने de livre को इधर पे जो पहले था उसको replace कर दिया and इधर पे आ गया खुद ब खुद. I'm so sorry. So that means le livre is the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences, and in the second sentence it is getting repeated as what? As an object, because it is coming after the verb. But one thing that you need to keep in mind is that it is not an object without a preposition. It is an object with a preposition de, and it becomes quite evident from the fact that o is the pronoun getting used over here. मतलब this thing is clear कि de तो आ रहा था sentence में. अब de जहाँ पे भी आता है आँख बंद करके it is don that will be replacing that. Don will be the pronoun that will be replacing that particular noun. तो हम o को drop कर देंगे, don को हम लिखेंगे इन दोनों sentences के बीच में, and your answer will be Pauline a finalement acheté le livre dont elle avait besoin. Pauline finally bought the book of which she was in need of, right? In need of, the of आ रहा था and of is synonymous to don. So Pauline finally bought the book of which she was in need of. हमने or drop कर दिया because or has been replaced by don. Okay. Next we have Je suis allé à Paris. Je y ai vu plusieurs monuments historiques. It means I went to Paris. I saw there several historical monuments. Now I went to Paris and I saw there several historical monuments. I saw there. Where? Paris. So Paris is the word, is the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences. In the first sentence as well as in the second sentence in the form of pronom e. Pronom e, just like COD, just like COI, just like o, it is also a pronoun जो कि replace करता है nouns को in a sentence, right? तो बेसिकली वन थिंग दैट यू माइट हैव सीन इज कि कोई भी सवाल एकदम स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड नहीं है. कहीं ना कहीं COD, COI, o, e यूज़ करा ही जा रहा है बिकॉज दे डोंट वांट इट टू बी वेरी इजी. अ पाखी इधर है, इट इज़ नॉट लाइक यूल गेट अ पाखी रिटन ओवर हेयर वेरी, नो द क्वेश्चंस आर नॉट दिस सिंपल, राइट? आपको कंफ्यूज करने के लिए ये COD और E, O का यूज़ करेंगे सो दैट यू कैन एक्टिवेट योर ब्रेन सेल्स एंड थिंक फॉर अ मोमेंट कि आखिर कौन सा नाउन है जो रिपीट हुआ है, एंड is that noun an object? Is that noun a subject? Is that noun with de preposition? Is that noun talking about place or time? So that you can finally come to the conclusion regarding what pronoun are you supposed to use, right? So the things aren't very simple. So before proceeding into solving these questions, make sure कि आपको COI, COD, E और O अच्छे से आए. But just in case आपको concepts clear नहीं, you can leave your comments and I'll definitely make a video on these pronouns as well. So abhi let's come back to this question. Apakhi is very obviously the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences. Apakhi over here and apakhi over here, जिसको हमने E से denote किया because E ने जो आपका apakhi इधर आना था उसको replace करके verb के आगे ले आया है, right? E is basically used to replace a place जो कि A से फॉलो होती है, राइट? सो पाखी वॉज अ प्लेस एंड ये A से भी फॉलो हो रही थी, मतलब A इसके पहले आ रहा था, तो E प्रोनाउन ने उसे रिप्लेस कर दिया इस सेंटेंस में. सो डोंट गेट कन्फ्यूज्ड कि आखिर हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं. बात पाखी की कर रहे हैं. एंड हमें पता है कि पेरिस इज़ अ प्लेस. Since Paris is a place, so it's very obvious. I even don't have to give you an explanation कि हम इसको OU से replace करेंगे, क्योंकि OU ही is the pronoun जो कि place और time को replace करने के लिए use किया जाता है. So what we will be doing is very simple. We will drop E and we will replace E with OU, and OU को हम sentence के बीच में लिख देंगे. And your answer will be Je suis allé à Paris où j'ai vu plusieurs monuments historiques. I went to Paris where I saw several historical monuments. Right? So हमने E को drop कर दिया, E की जगह OU लिख दिया just between both of these sentences. Next is La photo est très belle. Elle parle de cette photo. Step number 1, identify which noun is being repeated in both the sentences. It's very obviously la photo, cette photo. It is being repeated in both the sentences. So now let's just zoom into the second sentence and try to understand that in what form is this particular noun getting repeated. This noun is getting repeated as an object because it is coming after the verb parler, but it is getting followed by preposition. Okay, and what is that preposition? De. Now as soon as I mention de, the very first thing that should click your mind is the pronoun dont. It will be replaced by the pronoun dont. You got it right. And we will just drop the cette photo and replace this particular object which was getting followed by de. I mean, de was coming before the noun. We'll replace it. We'll first of all drop it and then replace it with dont. And we'll write dont either between both of these sentences or after la photo. I'll tell you why. You can write it either ways because both of them are correct, but I'd prefer the latter one more. I'll tell you why, but let's first of all have a look at the answer. The answer is la photo dont il parle est très belle. The photo of which they speak is very beautiful. Now you could have written dont over here as well after très belle. Dont you could have written between both of these sentences as well. But just try to understand कि इसका मतलब क्या हो जाता फिर. It would have meant that the photo is very beautiful of which they speak. They are speaking. Of which they are speaking. Now ये इतना ज़्यादा suitable नहीं लग रहा है to the tongue. Right? It isn't very professional either. लेकिन अगर हम इसको ऐसे बोलें, La photo dont il parle est très belle. The photo of which they are speaking is very beautiful. It seems more appealing to the ears as well, right? It makes the language look more attractive as well. So इसलिए हमने dont la photo के बाद लिखा just. The photo of which they are speaking is very beautiful ताकि इसका मतलब बने. Because this meaning is more suitable to the language. In both French and in English also मैंने translate करके आपको दिखाया कि कैसे it is more suitable this way. But the main concept is that the cette photo, la photo was the noun that was getting repeated, and it was basically preposition de, sorry, not pronoun, it's preposition. Preposition de was coming before it. So since preposition de was coming before it, we replaced it with dont. Next is je appelle un ami, cet ami m'accompagne à l'école. I call a friend, this friend accompanies me to the school. Now, very clearly, a ami, cet ami. Ami is the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences. And here in the second sentence, ami is coming as a subject. Since it is coming as a subject, we will use what? What pronoun? Qui pronoun. You got it right. So we will drop cet ami and write qui in place of it. Replace it with qui. Drop it, and the answer will be j'appelle un ami qui m'accompagne à l'école. We wrote qui just between both of these sentences and dropped cet ami, and this is what your final answer will look like. Now, why did we use qui over here? Because there was this noun cet ami that was getting repeated, and in the second sentence it was not getting repeated as an object, but it was getting repeated as the subject. Since it was getting repeated as the subject, we use qui to replace the subject. Next question is je téléphone à ma mère, elle est en Louisiane. I telephone to my mother. She is in Louisiana, which is basically a place. I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, but I am very sure that it's a place. Now, I just told you the meaning of this particular sentence. Now, let's try to understand what noun is getting repeated in both the sentences. We have ma mère over here and elle over here, and elle means she. And what does she in the second sentence refer to? Very obviously, ma mère. Okay, my mother. My mother is what she is referring to in the second sentence. And elle or ma mère is coming in what form in the second sentence? It is coming as a subject. And what pronoun do we use to replace subject, that is a noun which is getting repeated in the second sentence as a subject? Qui. So here your answer will be your answer will come by dropping elle and writing qui in place of it just between both the sentences. And your answer will be je téléphone à ma mère qui est en Louisiane. I telephone to my mother who is in this place. Okay, elle drop kar diya, we wrote qui in place of elle because elle was the subject and it was getting repeated in both the sentences. The last question. It would be great if you guys can pause the video right here and drop your answer in the comments below of what the answer to this question will be. You can drop it down and I'll definitely check it and tell you if you got it right. And if you have no clue how you can approach this question, keep watching the video. I'm just gonna tell you the answer. The question is, Je suis arrivé le matin, il pleuvait le matin. It means I arrived in the morning, and I arrived in the morning, full stop. It was raining in the morning. Now, what is the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences? Again, I'm asking. It's la matin, and it's very clearly visible as well. La matin and le matin. And the second thing that I'll be asking is, in what form is la matin getting repeated in the second sentence? You will say as an object, very obviously, because it is coming after the verb. And after the verb, it's a direct object because we don't have any preposition in between. So you'll be replacing it with QUE. No, you got it wrong this time. If you said the answer was QUE, because the answer is OU. Why, you may ask? This is because we're talking about time. We're talking about in the morning. We're talking about time. And I hope you guys remember in the very beginning of the lecture, I told you that OU is the pronoun that you will be replacing, that you will be using to replace time and place related, words or nouns that are getting repeated. So here we'll be dropping le matin, which is getting repeated in the second sentence yet again. After dropping it, we will be writing OU right in between of both of these sentences, and your answer will be Je suis arrivé le matin où il pleuvait. I arrived in the morning when it was raining, right? We dropped le matin and replaced it with OU and placed the OU right in between of both the sentences. And here we come to an end of our lecture. This is all about practice exercises related to le pronom relatif simple, and in your exams also you will get transformation questions only. You will be handed like 5 to 6 sentences, and तुम्हें क्या करना होगा? You will have to replace the noun that is getting repeated in both the sentences with a suitable preposition and rewrite the sentence once again. That's it for the video. If you understood the concept in a nice way, make sure to leave your comments below, feedback or any sort of question that you might want to ask me related to today's topic, in this lecture's topic. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe the channel, and share this video with all of your friends who are studying French in their 9th or 10th standard and need any sort of advice or help in grammar part. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. Keep learning.